Welcome back. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on NewsX. Our big focus this hour. The centre has announced the Gallantry Awards for 2025 and the list is filled with India's heroes that defeated Pakistan during Operation Sindoor. The Sarvottam Yudh Seva Medal is India's highest wartime distinguished service decoration. Before 2025, this medal has been awarded only 3 times in history. They have been awarded to officers commanding a large force in a conflict. Lieutenant General A.S. Kalkat was the overall commander of the Indian peacekeeping force in Sri Lanka. Air Marshal Vinod Patni was the Western Air Commander and Lieutenant General H.M. Khanna was the Northern Army Commander during the Kargil War. Amongst one of the recipients is Air Marshal Narmadeshwar Tiwari. He is an officer of the Indian Air Force. He is currently serving as the 49th Vice Chief of the Air Staff. Previously, he served as the Air Force Officer Commanding-in-Chief, AOC-in-C Southern Western Air Command, having assumed the office on the 1st of May 2023, succeeding Air Marshal Vikram Singh. Air Marshal Tiwari was commissioned as a fighter pilot in the Indian Air Force. In a career spanning over 37 years, he has more than 3,600 hours of flying experience across various fighter jets. The Air Marshal recently informed us how just 50 air-launched weapons from India pulverized Pakistan, destroying their air bases and radar sites. It's time we thank our air hero for his bravery during Operation Sindoor, which brought Pakistan to its knees, and for his decorated career in service to the nation. The second recipient was also the face of India's briefings to the world about our provision during Operation Sindoor. Air Marshal A.K. Bharti became the architect of Operation Sindoor. As Director General Air Operations in the Indian Air Force, he led the 4-day military operation carried out between 7th and 10th of May. It began with precision strikes on 9 terror camps in Pakistan, launched in response to the Pahalgam terror attack. Air Marshal Avdesh Kumar Bharti was commissioned in the Flying Branch on the 13th of June 1987. In 40 years of distinguished service, the officer has crossed several important milestones. He was a fighter combat leader and a graduate of the Defence Services Staff College. He was a flight commander of a Sukhoi 30 Mk squadron. He had also held a staff appointment as the Joint Director of Air Defence Operations at the Air Headquarters. The officer has been awarded 3 stars for accident-free flying, superlative performance. He was also commended by the CAS in 1997 for dedication to duty. Air Marshal A.K. Bharti was appointed as the CEO of a Sukhoi 30 Mki squadron on 16th of August 2005. The Sukhoi 30 Mki Phase 3 aircraft has been inducted recently, and he had the onerous responsibility of making the various weapon systems operational and evolving tactics for the same as well. In spite of numerous teething troubles that are bound to engulf a nascent fleet, by his effective leadership and innovative approach, he made the weapon systems operational in the shortest possible time frame. Tactics were also evolved to extract the maximum from this very versatile aircraft under his leadership. The squadron successfully participated in an Air Force level exercise called Gagan Shakti and also helped prove the evolving concept of air dominance force. The squadron also won accolades after exercising with the Royal Air Force of United Kingdom during exercise in Radhan Dhanush 2006 and with the French Air Force during exercise Garuda 2007. The squadron was inspected by the Directorate of Air Staff inspection in November 2006. The squadron was assessed in a multitude of missions that the aircraft was capable of. In many of the crucial missions, the squadron was assessed above average and also exceptional. The squadron achieved an overall grading of average plus. All this was possible because of Air Marshal CDR Bharti's very high standards of professionalism and his able and dynamic leadership. The third recipient is Air Marshal Jitendra Mishra. He currently serves as the Air Force Air Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Western Air Command. Jitendra Mishra was commissioned into the Indian Air Force as a fighter pilot on the 6th of December 1986. He has over 3,000 hours of flying experience and has flown more than 18 types of fighter and transport aircraft and helicopters. As an Air Commodore, he commanded the Trishul Air Force Base, Bareilly, one of the Indian Air Force's largest bases, which operates Su-30 Mki and the HAL Dhruv aircraft. He subsequently commanded Air Force Station Pathankot after the 2016 Pathankot attack. Later, he held the position of Air Commodore, Air Staff Requirement at the Air Headquarters. He was also the first Commandant of the Hotsby Brave Hearts unit based in Air Force Station Bidar. He is now the recipient of the Sarvottam Seva Medal due to his stellar leadership in Operation Sindoor. Air Marshal Nagesh Kapoor is a senior air officer of the Indian Air Force, currently serving as the Air Officer Commanding-in-Chief, South Western Air Command since May 1st, 2025. Commissioned into the fighter stream of the Indian Air Force on the 6th of December 1986, Kapoor has over 3,400 hours of flying experience. He's a qualified flying instructor and a fighter combat leader as well. Under his command is also the Air Force Station in Lonavala, which played an important role in successful execution of Operation Sindoor and the strikes on Pakistan's terror camps. Among his 35 years of experience is also a diplomatic tenure as defense attaché to Pakistan. Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai is a veteran of counterinsurgency and border management, particularly along the line of control. He led Operation Sindoor and played a key role in India-Pakistan ceasefire talks and also confidence-building measures. As DGMO, he is overseeing strategic planning, military operations and operational readiness of the Indian Army, and for this he will be awarded the Sarvottam Yudh Seva Medal, India's highest wartime distinguished service decoration. Lieutenant General Prateek Sharma is one of India's most decorated army officers, having been in the service of the country in the Indian Army for over 30 years. A recipient of the national honours like the Param Vishish Seva Medal, as well as recognition from the United Nations for serving in Ivory Coast on the Peace Corps. He was elevated to Lieutenant General in 2021 and has since served as the Director General of Military Operations for one term. He is currently the General Officer Commanding in Chief of the Indian Army's Northern Command, the division primarily involved with the carrying out of Operation Sindoor, for which he will be awarded the Sarvottam Yudh Seva Medal this Independence Day. Vice Admiral Sanjay Jasjit Singh has also been honoured with the Sarvottam Yudh Seva Medal. He served as the Flag Officer Commanding in Chief Western Naval Command during Operation Sindoor. He also played a critical role in the deployment of naval assets following the Pahalgam attack. Vice Admiral Singh was commissioned into the Indian Navy on the 1st of July 1986. After serving in the Andamans and in Mumbai in his early years, he specialized in navigation and direction. Topping the long ND course in 1992, Vice Admiral Sanjay Jasjit Singh formally retired on the 31st of July, concluding a commendable 39-year career with the Indian Navy. A ceremonial farewell did take place at the Western Naval Command headquarters in Mumbai, celebrating his extensive contributions to naval operations as well as strategic planning. We salute Admiral Sanjay Jasjit Singh for his bravery and service to the nation, for which he is also being awarded this Independence Day 2025. With the nation's 79th Independence Day upon us, this year's celebrations will centre upon the valour and bravery of our armed forces, particularly in light of their actions in Operation Sindoor and the subsequent conflict with Pakistan. The Home Ministry has announced that 1,090 personnel from across services like police, fire, disaster relief and armed forces will be receiving a token on behalf of a grateful nation for their actions in the face of the enemy. Amongst the 1,090 service keepers receiving the Gallantry Award this Independence Day, 233 members of the armed forces will receive Gallantry Awards. So far, 16 BSF Jawans whose bravery in the face of extreme danger during Operation Sindoor will be recognized have been announced. From veterans of the BSF operations in Kashmir to officers in training, there were several incidents of bravery beyond the call of duty by BSF Jawans across rank and file. The first incident, for which 6 BSF personnel are receiving the medal for gallantry, took place a mere 200 meters away from the international border at the Kharkula border outpost. Following India's precision strikes on terrorist hideouts in Pakistan, the Pakistani army began shelling the border outpost at Kharkula. A head constable Brijmohan Singh and constables Dipeshwar Barman, Bhupendra Bajpai, Rajan Kumar and Basavaraja Shivappa Sunkara were injured by a mortar shell on the 10th, and Assistant Commandant Abhishek Srivastav, who was deployed at the border outpost in Kharkula as part of his probation training, rushed towards his injured compatriots without caring for his own safety and managed their evacuation under the tough circumstances. Sub-Inspector Vyas Dev and Constable Sudhir Abha are being recognized for their crucial role in resupplying our troops deployed in the forward posts of 7th Battalion of the BSF on the international border. Sub-Inspector Vyas and Constable Rabha were injured by a mortar strike, and despite the serious nature of their injuries, they stabilized themselves and continued on to complete their mission. Sub-Inspector Dev's injuries meant that his leg had to be amputated, and for their valor in the face of enemy strikes, these Jawans of the BSF are being awarded the Medal for Gallantry. Assistant Sub-Inspector Udayveer Singh displayed stunning strength of conviction and bravery when Pakistani forces launched shelling and firing at the border outpost of Jabowal in Jammu sector. ASI Singh, despite sustaining severe bullet injuries, neutralized a Pakistani surveillance drone as well as a heavy machine gun nest inspiring his fellow soldiers and ensuring the continued domination of Indian Army in the war. Under the leadership of Deputy Commandant Ravinder Rathore, a team comprising Inspector Devilal, Head Constable Sahib Singh and Constable Kavaraj Singh undertook a rescue mission on the international border and saved the life of a BSF Jawan from enemy fire. Their exceptional courage and operational brilliance is being recognized with the Medal for Gallantry. Assistant Sub-Inspector Rajappa BT and Constable Manohar Salzo undertook a critical ammo resupply mission to ensure continued defense of the border outpost at Kharotana Khurd. During this resupply mission, both were injured by a Pakistani mortar shell. Assistant Commandant Alok Negi, along with 2 of his troops, executed relentless and accurate mortar fire on enemy positions for 48 hours, and their fearless conduct ensured 0 casualties and maintained operational dominance. Major General Sanjay Meston, defense expert, is joining us live. Major General Meston, this is an occasion to remember our brave, to commend them and award them as well. How do you react to these medals which are going to be given out this Independence Day?
Uday, good evening. Firstly, I think my reaction is it's a great honor for the recipients of these awards, and heartiest congratulations to each and every individual. Most of them are, of course, from the Indian Armed Forces, some of them from BSF and police, and the list will be out further. And I'm quite sure number of officers of the Air Force and the Army who are also involved in execution of operations will also be awarded. I think some list is going around with a lot of people who have got Veer Chakras and Sena medals. So the fact of the matter is that the nation has duly recognized, and now it is in 2 categories. The first category is obviously the wartime highest award, that is the distinguished awards, that is the Sarvottam Yudh Seva medal, which has been given to 7 of the officers, 4 from the Air Force, 2 from the Indian Army and 1 from the Indian Navy. I think these were the most important people because they are the architecture of the plans. The strategic plans were made by them, and this is the most important job, planning execution. And if you recollect, the Indian Prime Minister had stated very clearly, including the Defence Minister, that the Defence Forces were given full free hand to plan the operation. So therefore, these were the planners, deciding on the strategic targets, when, where and how to strike. So this is the most important fact or the issue which goes into war planning. And these officers have rightly been decorated: Army Command, Northern Command, the DGMO, and of course the AFC-NC Western Command, the AFC-NC Southwestern Command, and also the ACS Air Ops, and both the DGMOs, that is the Army DGMO and the Air Military Operations. And of course the Vice Chief of the Air, and also the FOC-NC of the Western Command. Very sad that he's getting it posthumously. So these were the major planners. And I feel that at the appropriate time, the CDS and the 3 service chiefs also would be given due recognition, maybe during Republic Day, because most of the awards are announced then. Now coming on to the executioners, you have just highlighted these BSF awardees. I'm quite sure the Indian Army also would be having the list out, and probably the Air Force and the Army would also be getting Sena medals and Veer Chakra. So it's a great job, and I think in your opening statement you made a very, very important remark that they pulverized Pakistan. So I would say that this augments very well. Firstly, it was the best military operation coordinated between the 3 services under the CDS. So that speaks well of this operation. It was just a 4-day operation, and I think most of it was non-contact warfare. And the impact and the effect was so much that the Pakistanis were constrained to give a call to a DGMO and request for ceasefire. And yet Operation Sindoor continues. It's just a temporary pause. Everything now depends on Pakistan. If they want to feel funny, so be it. Thereafter, the Indian Armed Forces will do what we are supposed to do. And I think this time we will teach a much better lesson, and we will learn from our mistakes. Probably this time we may not accept the ceasefire offer, and we have to go full throttle. And mind you, the Indian Navy was not utilized at all. They were just kept as a deterrent. That made a lot of impact. In fact, the FOC and Western Command, his entire naval fleet, has done a fantastic job. The way they were poised, the way they were doing exercises, the way they had fired some of the BrahMos missiles during training, all this reflected their preparedness, and that was a major impact and a deterrent against the Pakistanis. And imagine if they would have been used. So this time, in case the Pakistanis decide, then it will be full-fledged. And of course, I would also compliment all the paramilitary forces, whether it is the BSF. I would also like to compliment the J&K police, who has been very, very instrumental, the Punjab police, and of course all the police people all along the borders of Rajasthan, Gujarat, etc. They also had an important role because internal security is equally an important facet. So the overall reaction is the nation has rightfully acknowledged their effort, and I see more awards coming during the course of time, and I think these people would be feeling the best. Congratulations to all of them. And I think I would also like to congratulate the entire Indian Defence Services and, of course, the paramilitary forces and the police forces. Uday.
All right. In fact, Mijal Dwivedi, Global Strategic Affairs analyst, also joining us now live. Mijal Dwivedi, this is, of course, a time to commend and commemorate our braves with these gallantry awards for 2025. Great to see, of course, several members of the Indian Air Force this time also being honored with the Sarvottam Youth Seva Medal, apart from, of course, the Army and the Navy as well, apart from the BSF too, getting some very, very important medals. How important is an occasion like this to commemorate our braves, to award our braves, Mijal Dwivedi, and particularly the prowess they all displayed during Operation Sindoor?
Well, Uday, first and foremost, I wish to state that our nation has always honored its war of heroes and those who defend the nation. And I'm myself a war veteran, not only a strategic affairs expert, so I can talk from certain very personal perspective. Please remember that the armed forces, they win the medal by staking their life and displaying highest bravery on the battlefield. And Op Sindoor was no exception. This was a conflict which have fought on different patterns in different environments. But we can't say it is non-contact. Yes, it is standoff because after all, you are hitting and there is a contact, but the warfare is standoff warfare where you are engaging the opponent from a standoff distance. And I think in this conflict, 2 or 4 days, there are a number of elements that are coming to play. Of course, Air Force was the lead service, and it was primarily air warfare, where the fighter pilots were up in the air, engaging the targets on the opposite side, and they did bring down 6 aircraft, which is a very creditable achievement. And not only that, they also hit 9 terrorist bases, caused very considerable damage, and also 11 Pakistan Air Force bases in the subsequent strike. So all told, it was an excellent show of bravery, show of calm, leadership, both executive leadership and also the planning leadership. And the awards itself speak when 7 of the very senior armed forces officers have been decorated with the highest distinguished award in the operation environment. That itself speaks very high. And beyond that, I think about 233 gallantry awards are also be given to all those who have played a very prominent role in this conflict. And besides that, the paramilitary forces, please remember, we all fight together. It is all hand in glove, and performance of armed forces, paramilitary forces has to be taken together. But also, I like to go back little in history. We are celebrating 60th anniversary of 1965 war. Just to give a quick overview, in 1965 war, there were 51 gallantry awards are given. We shot down 73 Pakistani aircraft and we lost 59. And in 17 war, which I fought, I was a war veteran, fought with 14 darts in Bangladesh. That time, we shot up 94 Pakistani aircraft and lost 71. Notwithstanding, we knocked out about 200 tanks in both the wars. So point I'm trying to make is that Indian armed forces are continuing their glorious history, and they have shown their valor each time the nation has called them, and they have never failed the nation. They have upheld the nation in highest perspective, and Op Sindoor was one such example. I have 2, 3 very important closing comments. First and foremost, nation must recognize that these victories, these achievements come at a great cost, and armed forces are always prepared. I mean, armed forces only have two basic, I would say, roles. One is to fight, and second is be prepared to fight. And the way our armed forces prepared for this skirmish speaks volumes. Secondly, there was absolutely, uh, I would say, total sync of political intent and military execution. Because it's very important how political leadership lays down the political intent and how the armed forces execute that intent. I think this was absolutely exemplary and something which should be very proud of. And the third is the nation, the nationalism, the nation, the spirit behind the nation. It was very, very heartening because as armed forces, as war veterans, we can quite quantify that it's a very important for the morale of the people who are fighting in front when the nation is behind them. So, in conclusion, Uday, what I can say is today nations fight the war. Every element of the nation is involved, whether civilian scientists, civilians, paramilitary forces, armed forces. It depends which arm is in the lead. In this case, it was the Air Force, and it is the national victory. I think everyone deserves the credit, the political leadership, the military leadership, and the Indian citizen per se. Uday.
All right. In fact, let me quickly take that back to Major General Meston. Major General Meston, what do you also make, of course, of people from all the forces being represented in these medals announcement as well? We've seen various members of the Indian Air Force, the Army, the Navy, and also the BSF figure in the medals list.
Yeah, very true. This shows the integration and jointness. To start to highlight, the wars are fought very effectively and very successfully when there is a whole of nation approach. And I think this time again, there was a whole of nation approach. The entire unity of the nation was seen very, very clearly. And I think the people of India also deserve a applaud and credit, not falling into the trap of Munir, who wanted to instill or try that India should have communal rights. And this is a very, very good hallmark. And I'm quite sure the Prime Minister of India tomorrow in his speech would be mentioning this fact, a unified India. Next is, I think, the Atmanirbhar Bharat and people who have produced these weapon systems, upgraded them, the latest technology. I think they also have a very, very important role. And I would not be surprised, of course, it will be mentioned about them, but maybe some of them, like startups and all, and they also could be given some kind of a award because giving away of awards is definitely a motivation for everyone, including the people in the civil stream. They will also get motivated that today I can contribute to nation building in so many ways, diverse ways. I can, think of better ways to make these UAVs. And you are aware, recently, I think IT Chennai, 2, 3 students had come up with the, such kind of a model which cannot be detected and what fast speeds and all. So this is going to be a motivation. So I think it's a whole of nation approach. And this is what the hallmark of India is. Unlike Pakistan Army, you see it is only army, they are just browbeating. And today also, you have seen in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, their rights against their army. You have seen their corps commander's house was burnt and military bases were attacked just year and a half back. So a nation which does not have its people to with them, the armed forces do not have any respect in that country. The chiefs are the service chief over there, Munir, is just basking in his glory, looking for favors, and taking his nation wherever it is. And rightfully so, I think he stated that we are like a dumper and India. So
that's a very valid point. We are out of time, but Major General Dwivedi, 30 seconds.
Applaud and
30 seconds, Major General Dwivedi.
Hello.
Yes, 30 seconds, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to only sum it up that when nation recognizes the bravery of the armed forces, well, it is very, very morale boosting and it gives an extra, motivation to fight on. And the second point is that today the warfare has undergone tremendous change, and we need to recognize that Op Sindoor will be a very important landmark in our military history, and we need to be prepared because it's not going to be the last operation, as the hostile neighbors are always impinging on our sovereignty. We have to be very strong and defend our country And I think once you recognize the bravery on the battlefield, that is the ultimate for a soldier. Soldier doesn't